Alright, hello, my name is Juan Duarte, and in this video I'm going to go ahead and show you how to properly fill out a new patient form. But before doing that, it is very important to make sure that you welcome the patients with a warm welcome and with a nice smile, because first impressions are very important. And before starting off with the new patient form, it is very important that while making the appointment for their first visit, that you get important information such as the name, their date of birth, and the insurance information. This is very important because you want to ensure that they are eligible to be able to be seen in your office by your specific physician. And before doing that, I have a copy of the new patient form. I'm gonna go ahead and try to show each page as clear as I can. I'm not gonna be showing it as much due to the fact that it's very blurry. Um, but with the first page, it talks about the patient information and consent. So this asks for the patient to list their name, their legal first name, last name, their suffix, the reason for today's visit, and then go down. It has the patient's demographics. So you want to go ahead and have the patient list their address, their phone number, social security, their email address, gender, date of birth, city, state, zip code, etc. And then it has them to list their race, their ethnicity, and then after they're done with that, they need to go ahead and list an emergency contact information. So in case of emergency, who do we call? Who do we contact? And then the patient's employment information. You just want them to go ahead and list their employer's name, their employer's phone number, and responsible parties information. So someone other than the patient. So if let's say um, a teenager is gonna go ahead and go for a checkup, who are they listed under the parents? Is it their mom, stepmom, stepdad, etc. When talking about the insurance. And then the next box talks about the medical insurance information. So they're gonna go ahead and list the insurance company's name, the policyholder's name, the policyholder's relationship to a patient, the policyholder's address, city, state, zip code, the policyholder's birth date, their social security number, and the policyholder's employer. Um, that's the first page, and the page after that talks about the patient consent for treatment. So the first one is very important. That it's important that the patient knows that they voluntarily consent to any and all healthcare treatment and diagnostic procedures provided by doctor's care and its associated physicians, clinicians, and other personnel. That they are also aware that the practice of medicine and other healthcare professions is not an exact science, and they further state and that they understand that no guarantee has been or can be made as to the results of the treatment or examinations at doctor's care. Um, and then they also consent to the use of disclosure of my or the patient's protected health information for purposes of obtaining payment for services rendered to me or the patient, treatment and healthcare operations consistent with the doctor's care notice of privacy practices, that they also authorize payment for medical benefits to doctor's care physicians, and that they give information to obtain all their medication prescriptions history when using an electronic system to process prescriptions for their medical treatment. Then you have to go ahead and sign the bottom, and then workers' compensation patients. So that they hereby authorize doctor's care to speak to a rehabilitation specialist, um, their employer, my insurance carrier, or other professionals involved in their care of rehabilitation. They haven't signed that date, and then in-house medication program. So, in order to better serve them, Doctor's Care has a medication program which allows them to take home medications directly from our office. So this goes ahead and talks about how our program allows you to fill your prescriptions while you are in our office. In most cases, our prices are comparable to your insurance copay or those offered at your local pharmacy. And in-house medications will not be filled to your insurance and will not go towards your deductible. So you go ahead and have either check yes, no, or I may consider purchasing once evaluated by the provider on duty. You have them go ahead and sign a date if possible. And next page talks about patient medical history. Sorry. This is a very important page because this helps us know the patient more based on their medical history. So first off, it talks about having the patient list their name, date of birth, and then their allergies. Do they have any allergies? Do they have any medications and the type of reactions that they have when they have the allergies, or any reactions that they have to medication? And then next, it's major illnesses. So do they have any major illnesses right now or in the past, like such as diabetes, cancer, hypertension? You go ahead and check off which one is applicable. And then next, it's very important, surgeries. Did they have any surgeries recently or in the past? It's very important that if they did, that they list them in a chronological order if possible. Next is family history. Do they have any family history illnesses, so like from the mom, father, brother, sister, grandmother, grandfather? Diabetes, cancer, hypertension, does that run in the family? Social history. If you're gonna help a patient out with this section, social history, it's very important that you don't ask any forward questions that will offend the patient, such as, have you been drinking any alcohol, or you don't drink any alcohol, right? Those types of questions will make the patient feel uncomfortable or like you're judging them. The last thing you want is to make the patient feel that they're not welcome or that you're judging them. You don't want that. So just go ahead and properly tell them, like, are you drinking alcohol? You would go ahead and check the box there. If you don't smoke, you go ahead and check that box there, etc. Medications with dosages. If you're taking any medications, go ahead and list the dosages on the amount, and any other information such as the pharmacy's name, preferred pharmacy address, and the last date of their tetanus shots, last menstrual period, and if they're pregnant or they're breastfeeding, they will check one of those boxes or both. No, I just pregnant or breastfeeding. Sorry. Patient acknowledgement form. So once they're done filling out the form in the most accurate way possible to the best of their knowledge, they will go ahead and sign the bottom of the page. And the next form talks about the notice of privacy practices and doctor's care. So this notice describes how medical information about you may be used, disclosed, and how you can get access to this information. So please review the document properly. And this is a long form. Talks about how you want your information to be rendered or sent out. Has how we use patient information, and then treatment, payment, operations, how it will be used and disclosed, and your PHI. You have special situations that do not require your permission, and they have sections like individual rights and our legal duty. And if you have any information to contact or you want to contact a person, there's a list of the doctor's care and the address. And next is the authorization for release of information. So there's a page here. So this is very important because, well, you will first go ahead and have the patient write their name, date of birth, and then the physician's name, and you go ahead and have you choose how you want your information to be sent out. If sent on the voice, mail, or to your spouse, to a parent, or email. Again, with email, they have to go ahead and initial that they understand that if email is not sent in an encrypted manner, there's a risk it will be assessed inappropriately. If you still like to receive email communication, then it will still initial. And then the bottom, they will go ahead and sign the patient information, and that they also understand that they have the right to revoke this authorization at any time, and that they have the right to inspect or copy the protected health information to be disclosed as described in this document. If they don't want to sign this document, then that's not going to affect whether we gave him a checkup or not. This does not affect anything. Now, if the truth ought to sign it, then that's fine. Next page is financial policy and disclosure. So the financial policy and disclosure is to help us provide the most efficient and reasonable healthcare services. Therefore, it is necessary for us to have a financial policy and disclosure stating our requirements for payment for services provided to the patients. So we have such as patients are responsible for the payment of all services provided by doctor's care and UCI medical affiliates. So like self-pay policy, they're going to self-pay. If you're a self-pay patient, you will be required for the office visit before to pay for the office visit before services are rendered. And then you have the insurance policy. If you are an insured patient, it is a policy to file for insurance as a courtesy to you. So we'll go ahead and find your insured's name and bill them. Or if it's on the workers' compensation policy, we will go ahead and bill the workers' compensation. X-ray policy. If you require an X-ray on today's visit, and the X-ray will be sent out to a radiologist for a second opinion for quality assurance purposes, then a fee will be added for you to pay. Overdue and credit balances. All overdue patient balances will be sent out to collections. All accounts sent to collections will be charged a $25 collection fee in addition to the account balance. And lastly, divorce or custody case policy. It's important to make sure that to open this policy, we ask you to assist us by providing us with the current and updated information on yourself and your insurance company. Second, presenting an updated photo, identification card, and insurance card when changes are made. And lastly, making an appropriate payment at the time of service, whether it's deductible, copay, co-insurance, or for the full amounts if you're a self-pay patient. Once they understand that, they will go ahead and sign and date. And this is a second copy. This is a prime example of a different copy of the insurance eligibility verification. You can see that clearly. Okay. And the next page is the advanced beneficiary notice of non-coverage. So about 80% is paid by Medicare, and the other 20% is paid by the patient. But if there is a reason why Medicare may not be able to pay because some things are not paid by Medicare, then the reason will be listed on section E of this page and the estimated cost. And the patients have three options. They can either go ahead and wait for the Medicare to be built. So the Medicare can go ahead and pay for whatever they can, and the patient can go ahead and pay for the rest, or the patient can go ahead and pay all in front the day of, or the patient does not have to go ahead and get the checkup or any services that day. And once they fully understand that, they can go ahead and sign the bottom and date. Now we have the physician-patient arbitration agreement. This is a long form, but this is very important because instead of a court trial, the patient is agreeing to arbitrate receipting. So in the case, if there is a dispute about medical malpractice or something that was rendered improperly or negligence, and want to sue the physician, they're waiving their right to a jury trial, and this is less costly than a jury trial. So again, once they fully understand and they read this form and they're gonna sign it, that they understand they have the right to receive a copy of this arbitration agreement. That my signature below, I acknowledge that I have received a copy, and once they sign the date, the physician will also sign a date. And yes, this is basically it for this form, and this is another prime example of another type of copy that they have for this form. And lastly, for this new registration form. We go ahead and have the advanced directive form. So we go ahead, you have the patient list their printer name, their date of birth, and their social security number. And this is for the advanced directive is only operative when the patient loses decision making capacity. An advanced directive may be revoked or changed by the patient at any time. A previously initiated advanced directive must be revoked prior to initiating any changes. So, if the patient loses consciousness or they're not conscious at all, there's a list of types of ways, things that we can go ahead and help the patient, such as CPR, ventilation, cardiac resuscitation, sorry. And there's three options that they can go ahead and choose from. Either they want it to be done, or they want it to be withheld, or they want it to go ahead and not be applicable. But in this case, if the patient is unable to make decisions because they lose consciousness or they are impaired, if they choose to be withheld, then we are not responsible for not performing those things. But if it needs to be done and they're not responsive, then we are legally responsible to perform any life-saving things to help save our patient. And yeah, this is basically it for this long form. But before doing that, it is very important that you make sure that before they start this form, that you collect the patient's identification card and their medical insurance card before filling out this form. And this concludes the video. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.